Good morning, children, and welcome to my new class. So, let us start from paragraph number 23. We were reading about Maggie, who cuts her hair with the help of her brother Tom. Don't, Kezia, said Maggie angrily, go away. But I tell you, you are to come down, miss, this minute. Your mother says so, said Kezia, going up to Maggie and taking her by the hand to raise her from the floor. So Kezia wants Maggie to come down where everybody was waiting for her. Get away, Kezia, I don't want any dinner, said Maggie, pulling away her arm. I shan't come. So I shall not come, she says, and she says, I don't want to come. Oh, well, I can't stay. I have got to wait at dinner, said Kezia, going up again. So now Kezia says, I cannot wait here for long, so I'll have to go. So she goes down. Maggie, you little silly, said Tom, coming into the room 10 minutes after. So after 10 minutes, Tom again comes there and he scolds her. Why do you come and have your dinner? There are lots of sweets, and mother says you are to come. What are you crying for, you little baby? So he compares her to a little baby and says you're crying like a little baby. Oh, it was dreadful. Tom was so hard and unconcerned. If he had been crying on the floor, Maggie would have cried too. And there was the dinner, so nice, and she was so hungry, it was very bitter. Now, Maggie had a number of things going on in her mind. The first one was that Tommy was very unconcerned and he was very harsh because he kept telling her that she should come down and he was making fun of her. The second thing was that she was very hungry and the dinner was ready. But Tom was not altogether hard. He did not feel like crying, and Maggie's sorrow did not spoil his enjoyment of the sweets he was looking forward to. So he was pretty excited about the dinner and the sweets that he was going to get. But he went and put his head near her and said in a low, comforting voice, won't you come then, Maggie? Shall I bring you a bit of pudding when I have had mine? So Tom was concerned, but he was more interested in going down for the dinner. And he asks her that if she doesn't want to come down, should he bring some pudding for her? Yes, said Maggie, beginning to feel a little more cheerful. Very well, said Tom, going away. But he turned again at the door and said, but you had better come. There is fruit, and nuts. So he's trying to lure her and tell her that there are so many things, it's better if you come down. Maggie's tears had ceased. Ceased means stopped. And she began to think as Tom left her. Now Tom had gone. Now she starts thinking. His good nature had taken away the worst of her suffering, and nuts and pudding began to have their proper influence upon her. So, in a way, the way Tom told her and showed his concern, she had, forgotten about that bad experience of cutting her hair. And again, the pudding, the nuts, and the fruits, the thought of all these things had a good influence upon her. Slowly she rose from among her scattered hair and slowly she made her way downstairs. Then she stood, leaning with one shoulder against the frame of the dining room door, looking in through an opening. She saw Tom and Lucy with an empty chair between them, and there were the sweets on the side table. It was too much. She entered quietly and went towards the empty chair. But no sooner had she sat down than she felt sorry and wished herself back again upstairs. The moment she came and she sat down between the two of them, Lucy and Tom, where there was an empty chair, she suddenly regretted. She felt bad that she shouldn't have come there. Mrs. Tulliver gave a little scream as she saw her. Obviously, the mother was surprised to look at her daughter who had cut her hair and dropped the large spoon into the dish with serious results to the tablecloth. Serious results to the tablecloth means it got spoiled because probably she dropped the spoon in a dish which had a lot of gravy or some watery dish. For Kezia had not told them why Maggie refused to come down, and Mrs. Tulliver had thought that it was nothing very unusual. And Kezia never told them that what was the matter. Mrs. Tulliver's cry made all eyes turn towards the same point as her own, and Maggie's cheeks and ears began to burn, while Uncle Glegg, a kind looking, white haired old gentleman, said, "What little girl's this? Why, I don't know her. Is it some little girl you have picked up on the road, Kezia?" So the Uncle Glegg is suddenly surprised, and he's a little humorous kind of a person also. So when he looks at Maggie, he says that, "I don't know this girl. Probably you picked this girl from somewhere on the road." "Why, she has gone and cut her hair herself," said Mr. Tulliver in a low voice to Mr. Dean, laughing with much enjoyment. Now everybody is surprised. "Why did she cut her hair?" "Why, little miss, you have made yourself look very funny," said Uncle Pullet. "For shame," said Aunt Glegg in her loudest, severest tone of voice. So she says she did this for shame. "Little girls who cut their own hair should be whipped and fed on bread and water, not come and sit down with their aunts and uncles." So she says that little girls who cut their hair themselves should be shameful. They should not be allowed to come and sit down with their aunts and uncles. "Yes," said Uncle Glegg, meaning to make a joke out of his wife's cruel words. Obviously, the words were very cruel. It means they were very unkind words. "She must be sent to prison, I think, where they'll cut the rest of her hair off and make it all even." So they start making fun of her. "She is a naughty child and will break her mother's heart," said Mrs. Tulliver with tears in her eyes. Now, Mrs. Tulliver, who is the mother, is feeling bad. She's feeling bad for both the things that Maggie had cut her hair unevenly, she was not looking good, and the others were constantly scolding her. Maggie seemed to be listening to all this quite calmly. At first, she felt angry, and this made her brave enough to bear their laughter for a time. And Tom thought she was helped by the appearance of the pudding to bear everything. Now, Maggie was quite calm. She was not reacting. She felt angry in the beginning, but later on, she heard whatever everybody was saying. Tom thought that probably because of the pudding, she was, bearing all that because she wanted to have the pudding in the end. He whispered, "Oh my, Maggie, I told you you'd catch it." You'd catch it means you'll get scolded. He meant to be friendly, but Maggie thought he too was laughing at her. Her poor powers of endurance broke down. What do you mean by endurance? Endurance means your ability to bear pain or suffering. Now her patience had given up, and getting up from her chair, she ran to her father, hid her face on his shoulder, and burst out into loud weeping. Now she started crying very loudly. "Come, my child," said her father, gently putting his arm around her. "Never mind, you were in the right to cut it off if it troubled you. Stop crying, father will take your part." Now, the father is very concerned and he says, "You did right by cutting your hair and it's okay." Delightful words of tenderness. Now, what do you mean by delightful? The soothing words of tenderness. Tenderness means comfort, right? Here, the meaning is there. Maggie never forgot any of these moments when her father took her part. Took her part means when he took her side. He was always on her side. She kept them in her heart and thought of them long years after when everyone said that her father had done very ill by his children. So whenever people said that no, he was not right or he did not do right thing with his children, she always remembered that her father was always a kind-hearted man. So I hope that you have understood the chapter, and we'll be discussing these questions in my Zoom class. So have a nice day and keep learning.